evening, everybody. Excuse me. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk in a very wet, very cold, very miserable Scotland, which still retains its rightful place as undisputed dominant force in the universe. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Lord Vader. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing all right. Hope you've had a good week and a good weekend so far. I know we're getting painfully close to having to start the working week again. Oh boy, such a drag. But here we have some fun for the next hour, talking about Studio One. So I hope everybody is good, and I can see that we've got like only 11 people here, but I'm sure we'll grow the numbers very, very shortly. I have had a fantastic weekend. It's been really good, really restful, and obviously it's also been just a smidge romantic. The reason being, and I don't normally talk about my private life at all, but it is my wife, and it's mine and hers anniversary, our wedding anniversary, our 17th. So we're getting close to 20 years, and I'm still alive. I have not been brutally murdered yet, so I must be doing something right. I might only be doing one or two things right and everything else not, but I'm still here. No, I'm kidding. My wife is awesome. She's fantastic, and she does incredible things for me, for my kids, and for all of us. So yeah, so we've had a really nice weekend, and we've been at my parents' place today because it is my mother's birthday on Wednesday, and it is also their wedding anniversary on Wednesday as well. So, and they are away off on holiday to celebrate their 37th wedding anniversary, which is awesome. They've been together for 46 years as well. So yeah, it's been a pretty nice weekend to celebrate all of those things together. It's quite nice that our anniversary is kind of a wee bit before theirs, just a few days before theirs. So we often like just get together and celebrate together as a family, because it's just cool that they all happen around about the same kind of time of the year. So yeah, so there we go. We got 16 people in here, but we've only got 6 likes. Maybe I'm not doing so well today. I don't know. Anyway, if you have a Studio One question that is burning you up and you just have to ask somebody, then that's what this show is all about. That's why I do Sunday Night Live, is to answer your Studio One questions. So if you have a Studio One question, please do get it in the chat. If you are watching and you are not subscribed, you're not going to be able to ask a question until you subscribe. So please do hit the subscribe button, wait a couple of minutes, and then the chat will gloriously be opened up to you. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford to hire the choir of angels to sing hallelujah as the chat opens up for you. Just slightly out with the budget, unfortunately. But yes, the chat will be opened up to you, and you will be able to ask your Studio One question. So if you've got a Studio One question, get it in the chat now, and I would be delighted to help you with your with whatever that might be. If it is to report something that's not working, we can talk about that. I don't have a problem with that. Or if it's something you just don't know about in Studio One and you want to learn, we can do that too. That's all what this show is all about. It's all about whatever questions you have about using Studio One, especially with the new version just released very recently. So if there's some of the new things that you're not sure about, or you would like to see more of, you'd like to see more demonstration of, then please do get that in the chat as well. The best way to do that is to type at Jonny Lipsham Studios at the start of your question, because what that does, you don't get to see this, but I get to see this. What it does is it highlights my name in red, and therefore I can separate questions that are for me from all of the rest of your chat, and it helps me to not miss questions. So that would really help me if you do that. I know it takes away from the number of characters that you can use to ask your question. So if you need to continue on to a second one, just do ... at the end, and that's cool. We'll wait for you to enter the second part of your question. Not a problem with that. All right, so Ron Figura was the first in the chat today. Well done to you, my friend. And he was followed barely a minute later by Billy Morgan. And we've got the W5 family here as well. We got Kyle Trajuzia, we got John Hawk, we got Stephen Wilson, we got Chris Mrakna, and we got Just Bob here, which is awesome. And he says it's sunny and 78. Good grief. Wow. Unfortunately, Scotland being this kind of far north latitude means that it doesn't really tend to warm up until we get to the end of April and we're starting into May. When we get into May, then the temperature starts to pick up a wee bit and it stops raining quite so much. So, April tends to be, kind of March and April tends to be our rainy season, where it is just cold and relentlessly wet. And actually, really, this March and April have been unbelievably wet. We have had so much rain. I don't think I've seen quite so much rain in a long, long time. And so who else do we have here? We got Danny Taylor here as well. We got Bobby Booth, who is one of the original supporters of this channel. He has been here since pretty much the beginning, since I started doing Sunday Night Live, and we are I need to check exactly what number show this is, but I think it's 370 something. So we are approaching 330 something. It's not quite 370 yet. But we are approaching 350 shows of Sunday Night Live, and Bobby Booth has been to pretty much every single one. There's been a few that he's not been at, but for the most part, Bobby has been here to every single one, which is pretty awesome. So, Bobby, I appreciate all your support, mate, because you've been with me since the beginning. Let's see. Old School Funk and Soul is here, my good friend down in England. And Bobby says 81 and sunny. Good grief. I wish it was like that here. That would truly be t-shirt weather. To be sure here. So Carl says the only thing I've seen is needed to switch to mono and back for the panning to work. This only happens, this is a known bug, by the way, and it will be fixed. I logged this with our developers last week when I stumbled across it. This only happens when you duplicate a track. It doesn't just happen, it's not that the panning just doesn't work. It does work. However, if you duplicate a track, there's no panning controls at all. They are disappeared. Now, there are a couple of ways in which you can work around this. One of those, Kyle has alluded to, basically change the channel condition and, hey presto, the panning reappears. I will show you the other one because I think it's even easier than that. So let me bring up Studio One. And I'm going to get a new song open to demonstrate this. So let's go over to the screen. Now you'll notice I've moved myself up to the top of the screen, which is better than being down there because apparently I was being obscured by my watermark. And it's only taken me like 330 something shows to realize that was happening. So let's add a track. Here we go, and I'm going to keep it as mono. It doesn't really matter, and we will also open the mixer, and I don't need that view open, and I don't need that view open. So notice how the panning controls are present as you would expect, right? So they are there as you'd expect, and they work just fine. Okay, now here's what happens. If I now right-click this and choose Duplicate Track, you'll notice that the panning controls are grayed out and you can do nothing with them. Now, you can just change the channel condition from mono to stereo, and the panning will reappear. Okay. Now let me remove this track, and I will show you by doing this again to make the issue reappear. You can also just double click in here, and the panning reappears, and it works as you'd expect. All right. So this is a known issue. This will be fixed. So don't worry about that. But for the meantime, this is the only way to work around that. So if you are duplicating a track, let's do another one. There is no panning controls. They don't do anything. Just double click and they reappear and they work as normal. All right. And they will still work even using DAW mode, like I'm using just now on my mixer. I'm turning the panning control. But you have to double click first to make it appear. That will be fixed in an update soon. I don't know when, but soon. Okay, that's all I can say, really. So we got Aurora's Boring Alice here as well, who says greetings from Whoville. Greetings to you too, and Loenz is here as well. Danny Taylor says it's 91 in Oakland. Wow, that is glorious. That's the kind of weather I would like to be in kind of right now, because today has been cold and wet. It's not been very pleasant. All right, so that is that little issue. You can either change the channel condition. Let's do another one. You can either change the channel condition just by tapping there and it changes it. And then if you want to change it back, you can do that. So that's like a 2-click thing, or you can double click here. It's the same thing. It's 2 clicks up there, or two clicks in the mixer, in the panning control window, and panning will be restored. All right. So that is that little issue that we are aware of. And let's remove all of those. So that, as I say, will be fixed hopefully pretty soon. Let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's it. So that could be the end of the show if nobody asks anything else. We've still got 16 people here. It would be nice if we had a few more. I did post some ads around, so if you want to share this show, please do. And the best way to do that is basically right click on the screen and then choose the option to copy the URL and then paste that around and get that around to people that you know, who would either ordinarily be here or who maybe you don't, you know that they've never been here before and you think this would be really good for them. Then please do get that in there. Great, we've got 19 now, but we've still only got 9 likes. I like to see the same number of likes as I see viewers as well. So please do hit that like button if you like what I'm doing. I mean, if you don't like what I'm doing, it's fine. You don't need to hit the like button, but I would appreciate it if you do. All right, let's see. We got some things coming through here. So Danny Taylor says, I thought I knew what I was doing to take out pops on transition with waveform draw tool. Can you touch on that? Waveform draw tool. Yeah, I don't know. Mostly because I don't think you can do waveform drawing to redraw pops, but you can certainly use the draw tool to use it in clip gain mode. So if you're in clip gain mode, then yes. Excuse me. That came out of nowhere. You can basically just draw it out if you want to, but not on the event itself, not on the audio of the event. You can't just like go, I'm gonna just dip that down there, and it just like gets rid of the pop. But you can just use the clip gain and use the draw tool to draw it out, or you can notch it out if you want to, using the same thing. But yeah, I don't know that you can actually draw on the audio event itself and reduce volume that way. Certainly not that I know of. And if And if so, I have never ever done that, so I don't know. Chris says, why did the chicken cross over to Pro Tools? I'm dreading the answers to that question, but that's pretty funny. Bobby says, I've also noticed that when you hold down the control button and click on the mouse, it does not return the knobs on third-party plugins. Oh, right. Okay, well, let's go take a look at that. We can certainly take a look at that, because I do have some third-party plugins. Now, this may be something that is a bit more plugin specific, but we can try it. Let's go and grab something. Let's go and grab maybe this guy. This is one of my favorite compressors of all time, by the way, because not just because it's just got an input and an output knob, but it's really, really powerful, and it adds a nice bit of color. So let's go and turn that. Let's turn that like way down, and then let's do control click. Ah, yeah, you're right. It doesn't reset it to 0, does it? It did reset it to this position, which I think is where it starts. On this, on this compressor, I think it does. There are no presets in here. I thought there were. But I think this one defaults to +6. But let's try clicking on that. Ah, okay. So if I double click, this one does go back. So let's turn that one and let's double click on that. Okay, so if I hold control down and double click, it does go back. So that's with that. Let's try with the MJUC, which is awesome. I love this guy as well. This is another one of my favorite plugins. So let's go and crank up the compression. Let's go. Okay, so if you hold down control and double click instead, let's change that timing. Okay, that one doesn't change for some reason. So let's put that up to there. Yeah, I'm double clicking on that one. That one does nothing. Let's put that one into limiter mode. Double clicking on that. No, that's not doing anything either. Let's turn up the drive. Okay, so that one went back as soon as I double clicked. So let's do the sidechain filter. Double click. Let's make that, I don't know, 32%, double click, and it puts it back to wet. Let's put this slightly darker. Yeah, so double clicking seems to actually do it in most cases. These two buttons didn't respond to anything, but this definitely did. So if I crank that up and then double click, it goes back. So that's at least 2 third-party plugins I know about that. Let's try one more. Let's maybe try this Tens Junior, which is a really, really nice reverb. So let's go and crank up the decay time, and then we'll double click. Yep, it puts it back. Let's put the character down to warm, double click, and it puts it back to 0. Let's turn up the pre-delay, double click, puts it back to off again. Yes, I see what you're saying. Normally you just normally single click, but if you double click, it does seem to have the desired effect. Now, I don't know how or when that change was made, but it does seem to be definitely not how it used to be. It used to be just a single click. I would suggest that probably is a bug, that it's double click instead of single click. I will pass that over to our QA department tomorrow, and I'll have a bit of a chat with them and say, hey, is this actually new behavior and it's meant to be like that, or is it not? Because that's certainly something I've never seen before. It used to just be a double click, a single click, not a double click, to get things to reset. So if I pull that down and then, yeah, so single clicking on faders does do reset, but it does seem on third-party plugins that that's not the case. We could try with some plugin alliance. Let's try this Brainworks compressor. This is a great little compressor as well. Let's crank up the peak reduction. Yeah, that one does respond to a single click. Let's drive up the output, single click. Yes. Okay, so let's try this. Filter. Yep. Speed. Single click. Okay, so these are all responding to a single click rather than the double click. So it seems that some are responding to single and some are responding to double. So it is possible that it might actually just be the difference between one brand of plugin and another. But we can continue to test this a little further by bringing in the Mag EQ by Plugin Alliance. I like this guy as well. So let's drive up this gain and let's see what happens if I single click. Okay, single click, that worked. Okay, let's put in this frequency selector. Single click, okay, that works. Single click, that works. And a single click, that works as well. So we can do that and that. Okay, yeah. So the output attenuation also responds to single click. So let's try with it with, yep. Okay, so yeah, the Mag EQ certainly seems to respond to single click. And the opto compressor here from Brainworks does the same thing. Single click. So I wonder if this is one of those cases of it could just be a different manufacturer does a different thing. I mean, we could try with, you know, maybe a bit of the old Pro limiter from FabFilter. So, you know, we could like adjust this attack time. And then let's see what happens here. Yeah, that was a single click as well. Single click. Single click. Yep. Look ahead. Let's turn that up. Yep. So it seems it's different for different brands because there are some there that have been single click and some that have been control and double click. So I don't know whether this is a bug or not, or whether it's just a change in behavior with certain plugins. Bobby says he noticed on the SSL plugins. Yeah, I don't have SSL plugins to be able to test with. I used to have some SSL plugins, but I no longer have them. But Keith is here from Radio Talk Trumpet. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well in spite of the Liverpool result, but we won't talk about that. But Aurora's Boring Alice says, I like the idea of a double click. Yeah, I mean, it's single click, double click. The problem here is that it appears there's no longer, certainly at the moment, there's no longer a unified approach. Is it single click or double click? You now have to kind of remember which manufacturer does what. So I will have a chat with our QA guys tomorrow, and I will see if they are aware of this. But yeah, I will do that, and we'll see what they come up with. Yeah, that's a good one to have observed. Thank you for that. And we got 24 people in here, which is cool. Bobby says he'll try the double click. Yes, try the double click with your SSL plugins and let me know whether that works. I have a suspicion it might. It might be that you just need to double click rather than single click. I don't know why that is. That seems to be really arbitrary, that some manufacturers are single and some are not. That's a wee bit weird. A wee bit weird, as they would say here. Kyle has to run. Kyle, all the best, my friend. Take care. Good to have you with us, even for the half of the show. So I hope you are able to check out the second half of the show on replay. But yeah, Kyle did say it might just be up to the plugin. It's possible, but I mean, man, I have never noticed that before. That is definitely a new one on me, for sure. All right, any other questions? We are approaching the halfway point. I don't know if there is any any holiday or anything like that that is on in the United States that might be on today that's kind of leaving us a little bit shorthanded for people? I don't know. I don't think there is. Phrase you don't want. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Keith. Thanks for that. All right, anybody else got anything new that they have observed about Studio One 6.6 that they would like to talk about? Now, we're not going to go over old ground, so to speak, about, opinions on hybrid and opinions on lead architect and whether or not people, should have that or it should be exclusive or not, because I really don't want to get into debates. Everybody is going to have a different opinion on the rights or the wrongs of that. So I don't want to get into that. No holidays, just first real bout of nice weather. Yeah, that may well be it. W5 Family says the Masters just got over. Yeah, you know what? I have on a number of years followed the Masters, but I haven't really followed it very much this year. I knew that Tiger was very much falling off the pace and had shot a round of 82. Never heard of him doing that before. But yeah, I otherwise don't know the result at all. Is there a way to put extended note in the track view? Extended note. Do you mean an actual note, or do you mean like a text note? As in a reminder about something, like maybe you want to say, hey, I used X microphone on this particular source that is for this particular track. Is that what you're referring to, Chris? Or do you mean an actual note as in notation or something like that? If you could clarify, that would help me out a lot and make them visible. Yes to which? Yes to which, Chris? Are we talking text note or are we talking notation note? That's the answer I'm looking for, and because then I can kind of show you how track notes works. Track notes have been around for a wee while. What type? Okay, so what type of instrument was used? So you're talking text rather than notation. That's fine. I can show you how to do this. This has been around for a little while, but it's one of those features that everyone kind of went, oh great, yes, we've got track notes, and then they all kind of forgot all about that. Notation notes. Well, notation notes would not really denote what instrument was used. It would denote like an E flat, a B flat, or an F sharp. That's kind of what I'm trying to differentiate is, are you talking about notation notes like F sharp, G sharp, B flat, A flat, or are you talking about text notes, instructions, that kind of stuff? Or information, like I used an SM58 on this amp coupled with an RKO or something else. Okay, so you're talking about text. Okay, good. I'm glad we've got there. All right, so in Studio One, we do now have, and we have had for a wee while, but I don't think many people actually use these, but I'm going to show you that we do have this option in the wrench here, and it is an option for channel notes. Okay, now when you click on that, this little box appears at the bottom, and if you click over here, and if you go show track notes, the same little box appears over here. And you can make this big, you can make this tiny, but you'll notice that it squishes up the fader as well. So you have to do, maybe to use a technical term, a little bit of jiggery pokery to kind of get things balanced out. So let's say I want to make reference to let's say I use Rode NT1 mic, And let's say I also want to say this Rode NT1 mic into studio channel strip. And then once you finish that, you just click away and look, that note now appears in the track view and in the channel view as well. So let's say on this one, we want to say this is a Kurzweil, if I can remember how to spell that. Kurzweil synth, and then you can state what the patch is. So patch, you could say bank 34 patch 8 or something like that. I'm just making this up, right? And then you click away there, and now you've got your handy little note to remind you that this is the audio input on a stereo track of your Kurzweil synth using this. That should be bank, but I can change that. It's not band, it should be bank. And then I can click away, and now it says bank 34 patch 8. So you know that that was the sound used when you recorded this particular track. And that's really handy if you come back to a session and you decide that you want to redo the synth solo on this particular track. Well, you now know, because you've got a note referencing it, that you need to use bank 34 patch 8, and that's the sound. And then you just arm the track and you're ready to record. So there's no more needing to remember anything. Now, there is something else that is very cool as well. If I can remember how to find this, can I remember how to find this? It's been a while since I've looked for this, but this is definitely here. The song, I think it's in song information. So if I click on song information, if I go to track notes, you'll notice now that we now have these notes appearing in the song information as well. So when I save this song, all of this stuff is recallable. All right, so this will appear the next time you open this song. All right, and as you can see there, I have not spelled channel correctly. So let's go and correct that. I put knannel instead of channel. And now when I click away, that N now turns into a H, which is what we want. So Rode NT1A mic into channel strip. All right, so we don't actually need to, so I can just click on these, and you can see that we've got patch, bank 34 patch 8 there. So you can write into these little boxes, and you know what? The cool thing is here is you can say, you know what? These are taking up too much screen real estate. It's fine. I'll close those. And then I'll do the same here. And I'll close those. And you'll maybe think to yourself, oh no, where's all that information gone? Well, yes, it's still here. It's still in this song information panel. But if I now go back and if I open the channel notes again, you'll see that that information is still there. It's still there. It's just hidden from view. But that information that you put in these tracks is still there. All right? And then you can do whatever you want with any of this stuff. It's very, very cool. All right, so if you want to add more information, you can't write, you can write. I didn't think you could. So if I select this here, and if I put jingle bells, I can't even bloody type today. Jingle bells all the way on that channel there. You're not going to see that because these are input channels. Unless I show the input section here. There you go. It's now on the input section here. Jingle bells all the way. But let's say this input here is just There we go. So if I was to say this is just stereo in from 1824C. There we go. Then left here, this one is mic, and then this one here is Nord. And then this one here is loopback. Not lopback. Dear God, Lipsham. And there we go. So now I've got all of my information in the inputs as well. So it's very cool. And again, I can hide these from view by just turning that thing off. So it's handy. You can actually label all of your inputs as well as the tracks that are these output channels as well. These channels in the mixer, and of course you can do the same on the main out here. Curious, can you print out all the data channel notes to a hard copy? That would be really handy. That's a good question. I don't actually know. Song information. There appears to be no print button here. So I don't actually know whether this is all print outable or not. Yeah, there is no print button here. That looks like it should be expandable, but it's not. That just made me curious. All right, so there you go. Very, very handy little features there. These have been around since, I think, Studio One 4, I think. Maybe 4.1. Track and channel notes were introduced. You guys might also be aware of channel icons as well, track and channel icons. So we can put those on there. And you can have both at the same time. If you really, really want to kind of give yourself information overload, you can have the track notes, and then you can select this guy and you can go, this is my main out, so let's go to other, and we'll just put the nice little mixer in there. But we can also write in here, and we can put master feeder. There, done. So you can have all of that information showing if you want. You can have the track notes and the track icons showing as well. But like I said, again, it's all about channel and track real estate. You can have all of that information there, and then when you don't need to view it, you can just turn it off if you want more fader height. So there you go, folks. I hope that was helpful. That was a cool question. That was a fantastic question. Thank you for that. That was great. Okay. Bobby Booth says a single click or the double click does not work on the SSL plugins. Okay. Well, one thing you might want to try doing with your SSL plugins, Bobby, is you might want to think about if it's more than one of them, maybe you could try uninstalling or reinstalling them and see if that brings that back. But it seems to be, in your particular case, it's just the SSL ones that don't work, either with single or double click. But these other ones that I have, the Klanghelm and the Plugin Alliance ones, they all seem to be double click or single click. But like I said, I'm gonna make mention of this in my early morning QA meeting, so I will let them know and get them to take a look at it. But yeah, that's a great question. So Chris says that's exactly what I was looking for. Awesome. Yeah, track notes and channel icons. Those are really, really, really useful features. The track notes have been around for a wee while. I don't know that many people are either aware of it or use it that much, but it's definitely there, and it was very, very requested for Studio One 4, as I recall. But we are talking way back in like 2018, 2019, maybe for 4.1. And then the icons, the channel icons and the track icons, they were brought in Studio One 6, I think, when we got to 6.0 2 years ago. So, and those were, again, that was a really, really highly requested feature request to get icons. And I guess that's, people may be coming over from Logic, where Logic has that and has had that for a long, long time, and we just never have. But one of the things I personally would like to see as an extension of the track and channel icons is being able to use our own. That would be great. So, if, for example, let's say you've got a favorite piece of outboard gear. Maybe you've got like one of those Warm Audio LA2A style compressor units, and that's like your favorite go-to compressor on the way in, but you want to be able to have a picture of that on a track or a channel. It would be great if we could do that, make them into little PNG files, and then have them as available track or channel icons. That would be really, really cool. Who knows whether that will happen? It might, because you can do that with Pipeline. If you are using if you're like using settings on this Warm Audio LA2A style compressor unit, and you want to record what the settings were when using it through Pipeline, you can take a picture and you can basically drag and drop that picture straight into Pipeline, and there's the picture there, so you don't have to write it down on paper or anything like that. That's been around for a wee while, so it's possible that it may be something that could be done in the future, but we'll have to see. Danny says icons that look like the singer. That way you turn up the beautiful that way you turn up the beautiful singer. Am I right? Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? If you could have like a headshot of your singer or a headshot of your keyboard player, and you know who they are, and you want to put those, personalized little icons. That would be cool. Just Bob says, when using splitter and adding multiple amps, can you automate within the splitter when amps would increase or decrease volume or add or take away distortion? This is a great question, and I don't know how I begin to test this because I don't really use it that much. But we can certainly try it. So you're talking about using Ampire, I'm assuming, with like using the splitter tool with one amp on one side and another amp on another for kind of like having stereo amping. Is that what you're kind of talking about, Bob? I believe I've done a video demonstrating that maybe a few years ago on this channel, where you could use the splitter and have two different instances of Ampire. We could certainly do something with this. Let's change that to right. Let's go over here. Okay, he says yes. Okay, so I need to monitor this so we actually get some sound. Let's put this onto Fender Rhodes. No, let's do Wurlitzer. Let's do a bit of the old classic Wurlitzer electric piano. And we'll lose the reverb. Seeing it's a Wurlitzer, it's got to have some tremolo, right? All right, so let's maybe set this up so that we've got we want the splitter for a start. If I can find the damn thing, there it is. Hang on before I do anything else. Let's get these sends down there because we don't need those quite so much. Let's get rid of these guys. I actually wanted to remove that, not just disable it. So let's get that onto there. And in the splitter, we want to put, let's see, what do we want on this side? If I can remember how to do this. Insert. Let's go Empire. Put Empire on this side. We'll put Empire on that side as well. And we'll put some different things on here. So we've got that on one side, and what should we do on the other? Let's go for a different amp altogether. Let's go for this one. But in order for this to work, we need this to be a stereo. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? That needs to be right. There we go. There we go. So let's see, what can we do on this? Turn that off. I'm just trying to make this sound a little bit different. Okay, so I'm hoping that this is kind of what you are looking for. So in this one, what if we set it up a little bit differently? I don't know, maybe put some chorus on this side. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go back to the split and let's right click this. No, there's no automation by the look of it. You can only enter a value. That's interesting. Can I do that here? Now, if you right click here, you can change the output level or the input level or whatever it is you right click on here. So if I was to do that there, then I can do automation here, and I can assign that to knobs or pads on a hardware controller. I don't know that I can do much on this side. Yeah, it looks like automation is a little bit on the limited side for what you can do here. You can automate the volume, the input and output volumes of each of the different sides. You see it here, it's changing from Ampere to Ampere 2. So I can select these and I can create an automation lane. But I don't think you can really do a whole lot else other than what's specific to these guys. So you can right click that and you can change that to on or off, for example. Or you can adjust the amount of drive on the tube dreamer, for example. Or, you know, maybe feedback on the delay. You can do that. Or you can automate any of these amp controls. But in the splitter, you can only control the input and output by the look of it. So yeah, other than that, I'm not really sure that I can help that much with this, Bob. The in the splitter tool itself, you can't really automate very much other than the input and the outputs of each side of the split. So Ampere 1, this is on the left. I can adjust the output volume down, and then I can go over to output 2, and I can make the input a bit more and the output quite a bit less. It'd be nice to have automation in the splitter. Yeah, you do kind of, but only like the input and output volumes of each of the amperes here. That's about all you can do. Orange Pouring Alice says, I would just use 2 tracks, and if needed, have one dry and the other one via a submix. Yeah, you can certainly do it like that as well, but with a splitter, the convenience of the splitter is that you're only doing this on 1 channel rather than 2. So I was hoping I had missed something, but apparently not. Hoping it was possible to work from splitter instead of opening and closing the amps all the time. Yeah. So you can only basically adjust the input and outputs from the splitter tool directly, and then you just need to. I mean, you can rename the plugin. You can rename Ampere 1. So instead of saying Ampere, it says whatever your amp type is. You can do that. And then that way they show up a bit more obviously in the splitter. So you know that this one is the MCM and this one is the Vox AC30. So you could do that. I don't think you can change that directly here, but you can change the colors as well. That's handy. So I can change this one to, I don't know, there we go. Garish colors. Lovely. My God, those really are garish. And you can change presets and stuff from in here as well. But, that's pretty much all she wrote, I'm afraid. But yes, I hope that helps. And if it's kind of not really what you were hoping for, then certainly I would recommend you make a feature request over at answers.presonus.com. That is going to be your best shot, to be honest. And maybe when you make the feature request, put in some detail of a use case as well. So how, not just the idea, but how you would like to see the idea actually practically implemented. Like a use case of how it would work. That would certainly help everybody. It would make them, it would give our developers a better chance of being able to do something with it. But we are almost at the end of the show. Those were excellent questions. Bobby Booth says, can I put two fader port 8s in line together? I believe you can. Unfortunately, I don't have fader port 8s to be able to test that, but I believe that you certainly can do that. I know that Jonny has done it with a 16 and the single fader port, and he has the single fader port assigned to the master fader, and then all the others on the 16 assigned to whatever channels in the mixer that he wants. But yeah, you can daisy chain the fader ports. That is definitely a thing that you can do. But that's another good question, Bobby. Thank you for that. All right, so we have 2 minutes left of the show. Thank you, everybody, for coming along, and thank you for your great questions. And we topped out at 24 people. So thank you, everybody, for viewing and for watching tonight's show. I appreciate it. We got 16 likes. It'd be nice if we could just give that a little uptick towards 24. That would be great. So please do hit the like button. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button as well. Helps me out a lot, and it means that if you select all notifications as well, you're not going to miss a show, because you will get a notification about when the next show is, which, by the way, is on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified, which is at the same time, 6 p.m. Central, and it's going to be a corker. As are the rest of the shows this year. There's a lot to come, and a lot of cool stuff that we're going to break down about songwriting in Songwriting Simplified, and hopefully stuff that you can take forward into the next songwriting challenge, which will be coming up sooner than you think. I will let you know the details of that a little bit closer to the time. And hopefully we will get some good entries. We got some really good ones for the Easter one that were really, really fantastic. So thank you to all those of you that took part in the Easter songwriting challenge. It was great. You guys really put a lot of imagination into it, which was great. And we ended up with some really, really, really interesting ideas. So, so that will be Wednesday, and then we'll be back here for Sunday, for Sunday Night Live this coming Sunday. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sticking around with me all of these years. I appreciate it. There is a lot to come for 2024 for this channel, so stay tuned, stay subscribed, stay notified. Tell your friends wives, tell your friends' wives, tennis partners, tell your friends' wives, friends, tennis partners, and bridge club players. Get them all over in here. It would be awesome if we could really get the audience enlarged, shall we say, for both of these shows. Thanks a lot, folks, and I will see you all on Wednesday night for Songwriting Simplified. And until then, I will wish you all a very, very good evening. And I'm stalling because I'm trying to get my other song open for the end credits. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you Wednesday. Bye for now.
Bye.